Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're all well, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. If I keep looking to this side here, it's because my door is open, my back garden door, and my dog and cat are running in and out playing. So that's what that is. I'm not distracted in any other way. So I just wanted to give you a update on where I'm at with my cancer treatment and everything that's going on. I've had so many people, lovely messages and wishing me well and asking how I was doing and all of that. And the truth is that on Sunday night, I went to bed. I woke up Monday and I just had this absolute, I don't know, would you say epiphany? I don't know. I had this feeling a very strong feeling of fear around my radiotherapy, a very strong sense of responsibility for my body and my health. And I had done a lot of research. I looked up, what the radiotherapy does, etc. Now, I have to be honest, the breast surgeon gave me all the facts, did say that there was a chance of heart and lung, kind of damage because it's in the left breast and that's where your heart is, and also your lung is there as well. So I just had this, I don't know, I couldn't sleep. I don't sleep anyway, by the way, but I just had a restless night. And so lucky I was going to see a chaplain, which was arranged by the Cancer Society here. And I'd seen her the week before, and this was my second week seeing her. And really it was just, if they say there's something for me that I can, use, I would use it, so they said, you're spiritual and would you like to see a chaplain? I don't know if I said this before, but I'm struggling a lot with, for me, my peace and all of that comes from, I love popping into churches, lighting candles, saying my prayers and sitting in silence. And it's very hard to do that here. And, there is one in the village, but there are no Catholic ones where you can light a candle and all of that. So that would just bring me solace. And I have gone to lots of different places, seen a church, ran up to the doors and it's locked. So it's a pity, it's I suppose modern society. So I went to see the chaplain then last Monday. And she said, what's going on? And my lovely friend Abby's dog, Toby, oh my God, it was so sad. He died on Monday. It was really, really just so sudden, and it was really sad. So I had that news, and then I knew my radiotherapy was the next day. So it was, there was a lot of I was just afraid. So I was telling her this and I said, I don't know what it is, but something in me is saying I have a responsibility to my heart and my lung. And, I don't know if the radiotherapy is worth it. That's kind of how I felt, and so she said, you're quite intuitive, you have faith, so just go home and be with yourself, be and listen to your body and all of that. So I was driving home and I had this really strong sense to call my the oncologist, and she was lovely. Oh gosh, she's really nice. I have to say, everyone is really, really nice, but I think she was very honest and very human. And maybe it's because she's new enough. I don't know. I know she's new to that hospital, but I don't know. I really felt she had my back or something, and I wasn't just a patient. I wasn't just another patient. And I didn't feel that because, the way I didn't feel my cancer is less than other people's cancer. So some people are going in, they're told, listen, you've got X amount of time to live. And then I think they're looking at me going, would you get over yourself? You're actually fine, But she was lovely. She wasn't kind of She just didn't sugarcoat anything. But she did say to me, she said, where it is, it's not half your lung. It's not, it's not a third of my lung, but it's kind of, it's more than a kind of a quarter. Like, it was a good bit of lung that it's going to be hitting. It's going to hit some of the heart, even though there are techniques to help that, breathing techniques. It's still hitting off, your aorta and stuff like that, the valves and stuff like that of your heart. So I spoke to her, and I think she was off that day, and I rang. They had to track her down. Anyway, she rang me back, and she wasn't in the hospital, and I think she was in her car, and she was talking away to me, and she was saying, "No, I'm glad you called." And so anyway, we had a discussion, and she was okay with it. And as long as she was okay with it, she was okay with my decision, in the sense of it's my decision. She did say, in other cases, I would have kind of pushed you more towards doing the radiotherapy. But she said, in your case, the risks, she said, what you are saying and how you have looked into this and all of my research, she repeated what I said, and she said, so what you're saying is the risks outweigh the benefits. And I said, yes. And she said, well, then, I support your decision. So she cancelled radiotherapy for me, and luckily the next day I woke up, I felt this kind of weight lifted off me. I didn't tell anyone. I was a little bit ashamed, embarrassed, afraid of being judged, afraid people would say that I should have done it, or just felt that I was being, anti kind of medical or whatever, and I wanted to do things naturally. It wasn't that at all. It was like, if it was in the other breast, there was no chance of it hitting my heart for a start. I don't know about the lung, but there's different parts. And radiotherapy has, like, people think, oh, thank God you've only radiotherapy, you don't have chemotherapy. But chemotherapy and radiotherapy, there's pros and cons to both. Like, radiotherapy isn't any less invasive or less, damaging than, chemotherapy. Like, chemotherapy obviously is going right through your body, and it does affect your organs and things like that, obviously, and it's killing all the cells and it's all over. But chemotherapy only stays in your body a few months and whatever, like, whereas radiotherapy, you can have the side effects and they just keep coming years later and years later and years later, and it's because of radiotherapy. And so I had the doctor the next morning at 7:45 on the Tuesday morning, and I woke up and I had this panic, like just this panic of like, oh, what have I done? Well, maybe it's not too late. Maybe I can still do the radiotherapy, but I don't want to do the radiotherapy. Oh my God, what am I going to do? So I went around to my doctor, and it was to do with my shoulder. And thanks be to God, I have an appointment next Friday to get this seen to. Thanks be to God, in a hospital. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. This has been like sore for a year now, like agony for a year. So, and it's really like affecting, I just can't use certain cupboards and things like that. And I can't do certain things. Anyway, so I went around to him, and he was lovely again, all very nice, in my medical centre. But I had never met him, but I'd spoken to him before, and I really, really like him. But so I talked to him about it. Like, I just said to him, I'm here for my shoulder. And I told him a couple of other things. And then I just said to him, I got emotional, and I said, I'm actually afraid. I'm after cancelling my radiotherapy, and I was kind of, but he again supported me in the decision. Like, they're not saying you're making the right decision. They're not saying you're making the wrong decision. They're not in any way, pushing me one way or the other. They're not pushing me to do it. They're not pushing me not to do it. But I found, like, they'd give me little bits of information about patients that they have treated and they have come across who've had radiotherapy in the same area, and little things about them, what has happened. So anyway, I did feel good about my decision, because You know, I did ask him, I said, am I right in saying that, you know, I could have heart and lung damage, etc.? And he said, yes, you are correct in that. And it can have an effect on you. And yes, it can, because I was saying, like, you know, in order to prevent cancer coming back, I need to lose weight. I need to get healthy again. I need to exercise. I need to walk. I need to, like, you know, get fit, and I need to be able to move around. And if I've got heart and lung issues, that affects your breathing and it affects your mobility. And, you know, I don't know what my future holds. I genuinely don't know what my future holds, but I'll tell you, you know, I kind of thought to myself, you know, this cancer that I have, because it's hormonal cancer, hormonal cancer comes back more often than not. So I kind of thought, you know, I might get a good 2 years out of, like, getting back to me and slim and healthy and all of that. And then, okay, if it comes back, at least I've had 2 years of getting my mojo back or whatever, you know. I don't know if that makes sense to some people, but it certainly does to me. So then that was fine. And then my lovely neighbour, who is a radiologist, came up to me and knocked on the door. She'd given me flowers and a card, and she knocked on the door, and she'd given me lots of information, and she knocked on the door to see how I got on. And I was so afraid to tell her that I decided not to do it, but she was, you know, she was a little taken aback, and I suppose that being her field, she really, you know, would see more benefits than you know, kind of side effects or negative things. You know, she'd see it more as a positive thing to do it. And, you know, and I did talk to a couple of other people who have a friend who has cancer, and, you know, she was saying, well, you're supposed to do it, and why are you questioning the doctors, etc., etc. But, you know, I was talking to actually a friend in Ireland, and he has cancer, and he rang me today, and it was so good to talk to him. And he said if I was telling him about the radiotherapy, because he was ringing to see how I was getting on, and I told him, and he said, you know, I never even thought of asking them. And I said, but did they not tell you that there were side effects? He said, no. I said, but they must have said. He said, they might have, but I don't remember registering that I would be left with side effects. You know, and so he went through with it, and as a result now he's no voice, and it affected his voice box and his swallow and things like that. But he wasn't told that. And my friend here, like, has lost her taste buds, and hopefully all those things are temporary, you know. But and some of them, I'm not saying that, but some things are, you know, they're not temporary, they're permanent with radiotherapy and with chemo. So when you have cancer, you really are between a rock and a hard place. And there are so many people just go to the doctor, they're so afraid they've got cancer, and they go, oh my God, and they say, you have to do this, 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 and this, and they say, absolutely, I'll do whatever. And then you've got the others say, absolutely not, I don't believe in any of that, I'm going to go my way and do my vitamin C and my whatever. I'm not this way or that way. I'm in the middle. I'm literally, I trust the doctors. I know that there are side effects to everything. The cancer drug that I'm on at the moment for 5 years has a lot of side effects. It's horrific tablet to take. As I said before, a lot of people refuse it. I'm not refusing it. I'm going to take it for the 5 years. I'm really, really dizzy. I'm very nauseous. It makes you weak. It makes you confused. It affects your vision, sleep. My hot flushes are every 20 minutes. All through the night, all through the day, and my hot flushes cause me to feel, I feel very confused, makes me feel very confused, disorientated, dizzy, nauseous, panicky, really hot, obviously, clammy, and then I'm freezing. And this is constant. I mean, this is all night, in the morning, in the day. I'm sitting like this now because I had a top on, and I'm sitting here and I was actually just starting, and I just thought I'm going to feel sick. So I took it off and now I'm freezing. It's just, and I have an underactive thyroid, and I'd say that's gone bonkers as well at the moment. There's something just, my whole system. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I just, want people to know. And then, I have the fear of, if I get, if it comes back and people will say, well, there, she did, not that she deserves it, but there you go. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. I was spoken to another friend of mine who had it 3 times from here, and she wouldn't take the tamoxifen or the radiotherapy. Well, the tamoxifen she couldn't; she kept getting sick and everything, and the radiotherapy. And she got it 3 times, and eventually got her breast removed. But she didn't do the radiotherapy, didn't do tamoxifen. 15 years later, she's still here. She said her best friend got the same cancer. She took the tamoxifen, did the radiotherapy, and she was dead within 5 years. And she did both. So it's just, nobody knows. And I'm doing what's best for me. I spoke to a priest in Ireland. So I spoke to, when I think about it, I spoke to the chaplain first, but that was just, a sounding board. Then I rang my oncologist, spoke to my oncologist, at length for half an hour on the phone. And it was really, when I got off the phone. And then luckily I had my appointment the next day with my doctor, because that was it. Like, I was waiting 3 weeks for that appointment. So I spoke to him, and he helped me feel better about the decision. And then, I've had to come to terms and at peace with myself. I remember when I was told about the radiotherapy and the side effects weeks and weeks ago. I remember going over to Maggie's and talking to one of the oncology nurses, and I said to her, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm afraid. What do I do? How do I make that decision? And excuse me, she said, can you live with not doing radiotherapy? And it was a bizarre question, but she obviously is one she might ask everyone. She said, that's what I say to people. Can you live with not doing it? And I thought about it, and I thought, if I don't do it and I get cancer, no, I can't live with not doing it. And then it was just literally, I went to bed on the Sunday night and woke up on weeks later. I was obviously continuously going, do I need to do it? Oh yeah, I do. And blah, blah, blah. So look, that's where I'm at. I am on tamoxifen for the next 5 years. I woke up on Thursday morning, and I'd had a lot of pain in the area, a lot of pain in my shoulder, my arm, and where I had the lump, that pain and my shoulder was all linked, literally very linked. So when my shoulder would kill me, that little lump would kill me. Now, I didn't know it was the lump, but I know that from the pain, that's how I felt it. I was like, oh my God, the pain went, ooh, what's that? And when they removed that lump, I never felt that pain again. That pain's gone, absolutely gone, thrilled. So then I got a different pain on Thursday. And not on Thursday, forgive me, I had it for about 2 days, 3 days maybe. My shoulder killing me again. And I always think 2 days previous, what did I do? With fibromyalgia, I would wake up and I can't move my hip or my leg or it's a different part of your body. I don't know if anyone else like this, but fibromyalgia for me is, it could be my hip one day, my arm the next, my neck the next. And then suddenly the pain goes, bing, gone. And then you'll have another pain somewhere else. And like excruciating pain. And I'm used to it now, but I literally had this pain. And I kept thinking, what did I do? Did I do the garden? Did I do this? Now, mind you, I did try and do the garden a week ago. And the next day, my shoulder, my arm and my breast was sore. And I was like, oh, I hope I haven't damaged something inside, as in the tissue that's trying to heal. Because I think you have to wait 3 months before you do anything like really hard. And I was. Anyway, So I had on Thursday, I found another lump, basically. So I rang the breast clinic and then they said to ring some other place. I don't know. I rang somewhere and they said to ring somewhere else, and that's what I did. And it was a man on the phone and he asked me a few questions and he said, you're 2 months and 2 days, something like that. So you've gone over the 2 months. If you were within the 2 months of the operation, we put you through immediately and you talk to somebody. But the fact it's past the 2 months, it could be tomorrow. And I got a call on the Friday and the nurse just said, look, let's wait another month. She did ask a few questions, where was it? Well, I thought maybe it is scar tissue. It kind of feels like it could be scar tissue, but then it kind of feels like it mightn't be. Initially, a few months ago, they did find a second lump on my breast. So that could be the same one. And that apparently was a cyst. They think it was a cyst. I mean, they didn't think this was cancer because it looked like completely normal cells until they took, they tested it. So they said, no, it's definitely a cyst. And maybe that's the same place. I don't really know because I don't like checking myself for lumps. I got one when I was 15 in my breast, got it removed. That was a lymph node, and it gave me the shivers ever since because some women can feel as if they've lumps and they're not harmful or whatever. And I kind of am lumpy. I mean, that sounds weird. I don't have weird breasts or anything, but it's just that if you kind of go right in and that you can feel, I mean, like if you feel your arm, if you go right in, you can feel all bits, it's like your blood vessels and everything. But, so that's that. So then Wednesday, I felt, because, Tuesday I was meant to start. Monday I talked to the oncologist. Tuesday I talked to my GP. Wednesday, well, I felt fabulous. That's the picture you can see of me on Facebook, on YouTube. I put all my, on TikTok, on whatever I'm on Instagram. I literally changed my photo and I put up a photo and that was me. And you know what? That was me without cancer. That was me back to me. I was like, I've had cancer, I've had it removed, and now I'm okay. I don't have to think about all the side effects that are going to cause so much problems and the fatigue and all the unknowns. It's gone. I've had it. It's gone. I can get back with my life. And then on the Thursday, I found the lump. So I kind of have that horrible feeling again. It's like a feeling of uncertainty. I don't know how to plan. I don't know how to, and I can plan, I can do all those things, but I can't describe. It's just that feeling of, it's fear. And I will always have that. I've watched so many people and listened to things and read things. People with cancer never go back to who they were before. Be it good or be it bad. I don't know. Because I remember thinking, will I ever go back to me? I think of all my holidays, and I used to go to these like conventions and have all this fun and dancing and friends, and I've become a bit of a kind of an introvert, I suppose, recently. I suppose I am probably an introvert, but I have a great ability to communicate with people and to be with people and to, connect with people. And I love that and I need that. But I think really that's all learned behavior, how to be with people and how to read them and how to love people and how to be present with people. I really feel that if I'm with people, I'm present and I'm soaking up their energy and what they want me to know, and I love that. I love this deep connection with people. And now, like the last year, I've been very kind of not isolated, yes, but alone a lot of the time, and it kind of suits me in a way, because I don't have to impress. I don't have to put on makeup. I don't have to dress up. I don't have to perform. I don't have to be anything to anybody. And that's taken such a weight off of me. And, you know, and the doctors have been saying, like, you've such anxiety. You're so highly stressed. You need to just do whatever it takes just to you know, stop that stress. Your body is in complete and utter, like, it's just my adrenal glands, everything. It's just, but so they're saying, sit at home, walk your dog, be in nature, breathe, meditate, pray, whatever it takes, but just don't feel you have to go back into society for a while, because you need to just, you know, your body needs to kind of go back to some sort of relaxed state. Now, I had a panic attack this morning when I woke up again, and I don't know if I'm getting feelings the last couple of days of, what happened was, I had my glasses on like this yesterday. I looked into my car and I pushed my head up. They went down there, cut my head, huge bump. Well, not huge bump, bump. And oh my gosh, I've been so dizzy and feeling sick yesterday, all day yesterday, feeling really sick, feeling really dizzy. And then I don't know, oh my God, are these hot flushes? Is this tamoxifen? Is this from my head? Then I thought, if I go to sleep, and then I thought, oh, I don't care, I don't sleep anyway, so I didn't really sleep. And then obviously I sleep a little bit. And then I woke up and I was still alive, and jumped out of the bed. Well, I mean, got out of the bed. I did kind of get out quickly because Teddy decided he wanted to go downstairs to the toilet. So I always have to jump up, even though he has a nappy on him in case. But, oh my goodness, I fell back onto the bed. I was like, oh, I was, you know, and then I was like, maybe it's sinus, maybe it's hay fever, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but it's not just a normal feel. It's intense. It's intense. So that's where I'm at. So, I kind of feel really good in one way, and I feel, scared in another, and all of that. But look, I know myself, if you make a decision, I need to be on board with that, and I need to be at peace with that. And my big learning all through this is not to worry about what you think of me. Like, not to worry about you judging me and saying, who does she think she is, not taking that, you know, opportunity to do radiotherapy. Like, how dare she? And then I was thinking of my American friends, and I was saying, oh my goodness, like, here it's free, everything's free, and I am blessed, so blessed. But I really need to take responsibility for Neve. Like, Neve is my person. Neve is my human on earth. Neve is the one that is, you know, keeping this all together within a body. And Neve is the one who, you know, has to live with this. So I have to make that decision for Neve. And Neve being, say, my daughter, or Neve being my mother, or Neve being my person that I really care about, Neve being the most important person to keep me here. I have to make that decision. I have to be, you know, the I was going to say advocate for Neve, right? So I have to be the parent for Neve and say, right, okay, let's pull back here, and let's really think about this, and let's really be at ease with this. And it's only about me and me, right? In the sense of, it's not as if I've children and I have a husband that I could say to my husband and he say, no way, you have to do it, that's it, da, 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 da. Or you're looking at your little children and you're saying, God, I better really do this, whether my heart's hanging out and my lung can't work, at least, you know, the way, like. So I really just have me to think about in this situation, and obviously my dog and my cat and my friends, and you know, and my friends, you know, mostly are my family. Some friends are my family. The other thing about cancer is, and it's not only cancer, it's situation. Sorry, I'm trying to see because it'll cut me off at a certain point here. But people, the people you think will really be there for you are not, and the people that you don't think will be really there for you or that bothered, are really there for you. I realise it's getting a bit dark, and I hope you can still see me. But yeah, so it's a really strange one. I experienced that when my dad died when I was 12. The people I thought would be there for me weren't, and the people I remember, I had this lovely friend. Her name was, if anyone knows her, she's from Dundrum. She was lovely. Her name was Jane Cox. She had an English accent, and she had a brother. She was lovely. I met her in art college during the summer. I must have done it when Dad was alive, actually. So I was 12, and I went up and did art college up in Pine Valley. And a bus would collect us from Dundrum. It was for 2 weeks, and I remember being there and just being sad all the time, looking at I remember being quite alone, and I loved the art and I loved doing it, but I remember looking up at it was always grey, and it was like, we were like up in the mountains, but the forest was right in front of us, and I remember just staring at the forest and this sadness, because my dad was sick. Anyway, he died in the November after that. But I remember I had that lovely friend Jane, and I hadn't been in touch with her, and she rang me one day and she said to me, "You haven't been in touch. What's the story?" And I said, "Oh, my dad died." And she went, "What?" I always remember thinking, she was 14, so she was so much older than me. I was 12. But I remember her saying, "What do you mean your dad died? Your dad died and you never told me. Why didn't you tell me?" And I remember thinking, why would she even be bothered knowing that my dad had died? So, you know, I suppose I often regret that and think I was wrong. I didn't know. There were so many other people. There were all my school friends, and there were my local friends, you know. It was mainly just my school friends, to be honest. That's who I really had at that time. I don't think I had any other local friends. That came later. Yeah, so it was friends from school, and they were all so supportive and everything else. But I just didn't think to ring somebody and say, "By the way, my dad died." I just thought, how do you do that? But I lost a lot of people throughout my life when big events have happened. When I've hit certain points in my life that weren't very nice, like people would just walk away. Or if I tell people the truth about who I really am, you know, like something quite deep, I've been really rejected by some people. I've been embraced by people I thought who would reject me. And then the people I thought were actually my best friends who'd embrace me and support me were horrible to me. Like literally, one girl said to me once, "I told you something," and she just said, "People like you make me sick." And oh my God, I'll never forget it. It really hurt me. So I've lost people in the past due to life and circumstances, and then other people have just been so amazing. So, but the truth is, we're really on this path alone, and I'm not alone because I have God and the angels and animals and nature. And I've got, like, I know it sounds weird, but I've my online friends, you know, I've got people who, you know, I really do need, and I need their support, and I need them, and some of them might know it and some of them don't. So if you're watching this, like, I do need you, you know, I do need support. I'm getting emotional now, but I do need support. And I have beautiful, beautiful Abby here, who's like the best friend in the world. She's an angel. She's so good to me. I have her, and I do have people around me. I really do, and I'm so grateful. And it is up to me as well to reach out, and I do that. But you know, it goes without saying, I miss my mum so much, but I can't think about it because it's too big for me, and it makes me really unwell. So, but I do hope that I can get home to see her sometime soon, all going well with everything, you know. What does it say now? 35. I can't see now because I'm not wearing my glasses. So before it cuts out, I just want to say thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you for listening to me. I will be doing more jam. I just got jars there, and I filled 3 big jars with jam. I've jam coming out my ears. I've soup coming out my ears. But I will definitely do more videos in the next couple of days. So I thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a great evening. Okay, take care. Bye.